Hello, happy Friday. Today I want to show you how to make these yummy, famous onion bread. It's not an original recipe, it's his recipe, Matt Amsden. I met him several years ago in LA when I was visiting my daughter Kendall. She took me to his he's a vegan chef, and she took me to his vegan cafe, and I had this yummy sandwich made with this bread, avocado, sprouts, tomatoes, lettuce. It was delicious. I was so energetic when I finished with the sandwich. I mean, I just felt so much more alive. And my daughter reminded me that the reason I felt that way was because I was eating live food. So I decided to incorporate this. I bought his book, and I've incorporated some of his recipes into my diet. This is a yummy, yummy, healthy alternative to bread. It's delicious. I love sandwiches, but I just can't eat a lot of bread. I have a slight gluten intolerance like most of us do, but I still love what I love. So this is a wonderful, healthy alternative, and you can make all kinds of sandwiches with it. I don't use meat in my sandwich. I actually, it's a raw vegan sandwich that I make, and like I said, I described earlier, you can put all kinds of things in there. I use avocados, tomatoes, lettuce, sprouts. I make a vegan cheese with cashews that I spread in there, and I use, mustard mayo, and it makes the most delectable sandwich. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So the things that you need for this project: you need a large mixing bowl, we need a food processor, a Vitamix, and with the food processor we're going to use a specific blade. I like the blade that has the thinnest, that gives us the thinnest slices. So this is the one I use. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. That's it. And then for the ingredients, we have onions, we have liquid amino acid, we have extra virgin olive oil, all organic raw sunflower seeds, and organic whole flaxseed. Now, I altered the recipe just a little bit because in Matt's recipe, it calls for nama shoyu, which is a type of soy. But this works just as well, and it's healthy as well. So let me give you the recipe right quick. The recipe calls for 3 large yellow onions, 1/4 cup, or 3/4 of a cup, 3/4 of a cup of raw sunflower seeds, 3/4 of a cup of flaxseed, and then 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, and 1/3 of a cup of the soy. So I change this also a little bit in that I dilute the amino acid just a little bit, because just when I use it like it is, it's too salty for me when I use it full strength. So I dilute it with a little water, and I think it comes out better for me. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. First, you're going to take your onion and peel the dead skin off of it, or the dry skin, not the dead skin, but the dry skin. And then so my food processor is smaller, so what I do is I cut the ends off of the onion, and then I slice it in half, and I process it that way, so that I can actually get it in the side, this little opening here. So we're going to do all 3 of those. We're going to get our sliced onions, and then we're going to dump that over into the bowl. Actually, I've already made, I'm making a batch of this, so I made the dough yesterday, and so I'm really not going to demonstrate today how to make the dough. I'm just going to describe it to you. So we're going to dump the onions, and then we're going to take the raw sunflower seeds, we're going to take that 3/4 of a cup, We're gonna put those in the food processor after you know, clean it out, wipe it out and dry it. And I like for my sunflower seeds to be, you know, to be identifiable. I don't want it to be real powdery. So I just chop them up a little bit, okay? And then we dump those in, and then we're gonna take our 3/4 of a cup of flaxseed, and for the flax seeds, I use the Vitamix, because for my flax seeds, I want them to be ground to a fine powder consistency. So this does that a lot better. So we use the Vitamix to grind up our flax seeds, and then we dump that. So far we have the onions, we have the chopped up sunflower seeds, and we have the ground up flax seeds. Now we're going to take a 1/3 of a cup of olive oil and put that in there. And then we're going to take a 1/3 of a cup. Now what I do, like I said earlier, I mix mine, I dilute my soy with a little bit of water so that it's not so salty. So we'll take a 1/3 of a cup of a diluted ingredient, and we go ahead and put that in, and then we mix the ingredients up. You can mix it with your hands, or you can mix it with a big spoon. Whatever works for you. Just make sure your hands are really clean and your nails are clean. And then, anyway, you're just going to mix it up. What you want is a kind of a doughy consistency, you know, not too dry. If it seems like it's a little too dry, just add a tiny bit of water to moisten it up a little bit. And then once you get that mixed, all of those ingredients mixed well, then what we're going to do is take our parchment paper, and my dehydrator is round, but you can buy them square. Mine just has round. So I take my parchment paper, and so what I do is I trim off the paper and then put a hole in the middle so that it'll fit my dehydrator. Okay? So what we're going to do is we take the parchment paper and you line the dehydrator, and then you spread the dough on there. What I did was I actually shaped mine before I started dehydrating. But you can play around with it and do, you know, see what works for you. So I have now some bread that's been in the dehydrator for several hours. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to turn this off for a second, and I'm just going to open this dehydrator up. I have about 4 layers. So this is what the bread looks like when it's dehydrating. So the recipe calls for you to dehydrate the bread for 24 hours, and then you flip the bread over. You're going to peel it off of the parchment paper, flip it over, and then dehydrate it for 12 more hours before it's done. So that's it. So I'm going to turn that back on. So as I mentioned, a really healthy alternative, and it's really yummy. So, you know, you might want to give it a try. In all transparency, I do want to mention that I kind of mix my diet. I do some vegan raw, and I do some cooked foods. My constitution requires that I eat some cooked food, so I do some lovely soups, and actually sometimes I just fall off the rail and I have to have a yummy Da Vinci donut. I don't do a lot of that, but I occasionally, you know, I'm human, so I occasionally am drawn in. And so I may have a donut, or, and I don't do that often. And so I'd say maybe a few times, couple of 2 or 3 times a year, I'll indulge in some kind of really unhealthy sweet. Christmas is a time. But in general, you know, I just try to keep my diet pretty well balanced with the live foods that really give you the life and energy. And I don't do anything that's really bad for me in excess. Anything that's not good for you, anything done in excess, it's just not good for you. Anything really. So I try to keep a fine balance there, but I do have that human side, so occasionally I do fall off the rail and dip into the cookie jar. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you get to try this bread. It is delicious. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.